The courtroom was silent when the judge walked in. Everyone stood. I stood too, clutching a thin folder against my chest. Unlike everyone else in the room, I had no lawyer beside me. No expensive suit, no legal team, no family sitting in the front row. Just me, and a case that could destroy the life I had spent 23 years building. Case number 4178, the clerk announced. My stomach tightened. People versus Daniel Carter. That was me. I slowly sat down. Across the courtroom, my former business partner, Richard Hayes, sat beside his lawyer. Richard wore a perfectly tailored gray suit and looked completely relaxed. He glanced at me and smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was the smile of a man who already believed he had won. 3 months earlier, Richard and I had owned a small construction company together. I handled the workers, projects, and field operations. Richard handled finances. For years, everything worked. Until one morning, investigators arrived at my house. They accused me of stealing nearly $300,000 from the company. I couldn't believe it. I had never taken a penny. But Richard had bank records, invoices, signatures. Everything appeared to point toward me. My savings disappeared paying bills and trying to defend myself. The lawyer I hired initially demanded more money than I could afford. Eventually, I had no choice. I came to court alone. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mr. Carter transferred company funds into an account under his control. I swallowed hard. Richard's lawyer nodded confidently. Then the prosecutor placed a document on the table. Furthermore, we have Mr. Carter's signature authorizing these transfers. The judge looked at the paper. Then he looked at me. Mr. Carter, did you sign this? I leaned forward. Yes. A murmur passed through the courtroom. But I didn't authorize that transfer, I quickly added. The prosecutor smiled. Your Honor, the defendant admits the signature is his. The judge raised one hand. Let him finish. I looked down. My signature is on that document. But I never signed it. The prosecutor frowned. That makes no sense. It does if someone copied my signature. Richard suddenly shifted in his chair. I noticed. For the first time, he didn't look so comfortable. The judge noticed it too. Mr. Carter, he said, do you have evidence supporting your claim? I opened my folder. I have something. The prosecutor immediately objected. Your Honor, this evidence was not submitted through counsel. The judge studied me. Mr. Carter, you are representing yourself. You may present your evidence, but it must follow procedure. I nodded. My hands were shaking. I pulled out an old photograph. The judge looked confused. What is this? That's my father. The courtroom became strangely quiet. My father died 7 years ago. Before he died, he taught me something about signatures. I placed another document on the table. My father was a handwriting examiner. The prosecutor laughed softly. Your Honor, with respect, family stories are irrelevant. The judge ignored him. Continue. I pointed to the company's transfer document. My father taught me that people don't copy signatures perfectly. They copy what they think a signature looks like. The judge leaned forward. I placed 3 genuine documents beside the disputed one. Look at the letter, D. The judge examined them. In my real signature, I begin the D from the bottom. Whoever made the disputed signature started from the top. The prosecutor shook his head. That's speculation. I continued. And there's another problem. I pulled out my phone. I requested security footage from the bank. The prosecutor's face changed. Your Honor, we were not provided this. I didn't know I could submit it until yesterday, I said. The judge looked at the clerk. Can we review it? A few minutes later, the courtroom lights dimmed. The video appeared on the screen. It showed the bank entrance. Then Richard appeared. He walked inside. The prosecutor leaned toward the screen. Richard went pale. The video showed him entering the bank on the exact date the disputed transfer was made. But that wasn't the most important part. A bank employee walked up to him. Richard handed her a folder. Then he looked directly at the security camera. The room fell silent. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, we need a recess. The judge didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked at Richard. Mr. Hayes, why were you at the bank that day? Richard's lawyer stood. My client doesn't have to answer that. The judge nodded slowly. That's correct. Then he looked at me. Mr. Carter, is there anything else? I hesitated. There was one final thing. I reached into my folder and removed a small envelope. I received this yesterday. The judge opened it. Inside was a handwritten note. His expression changed. Where did you get this? From my father's old belongings. The judge read it silently. Then he looked at me. For several seconds, he said nothing. Finally, he asked something completely unexpected. Mr. Carter. His voice became softer. You don't remember me? I froze. The courtroom seemed to disappear. I'm sorry. The judge leaned back. You really don't remember? I stared at his face. There was something familiar. The eyes. The voice. But I couldn't place him. No, Your Honor. The judge smiled faintly. 26 years ago, you were working at a gas station on Jefferson Avenue. My mouth fell open. I remembered. I had been 19. One winter night, an elderly man came into the station. He was confused. His car had broken down. He had no money, no phone. I had used my own money to buy him food, then drove him nearly 20 miles home. I never saw him again. Until now. The judge pointed to the envelope. That man was my father. My eyes filled with tears. I couldn't speak. The judge continued. You didn't know who I was then. You didn't help him because you expected something. He looked at Richard, and you certainly didn't know that one day I would sit on this bench. Richard lowered his head. The judge turned back toward the prosecutor. There is now reasonable evidence that the alleged financial documents may have been fabricated. He ordered an immediate investigation into the bank records. Within 2 weeks, everything changed. Forensic experts confirmed that the signature on the transfer document had been digitally reproduced. Bank records showed Richard had created the fraudulent transfers. He had been stealing money from the company for more than a year. Then he had blamed me. Richard was arrested. The charges against me were dismissed. I walked out of the courthouse alone. But this time, I wasn't afraid. The judge stopped me near the doors. Mr. Carter. I turned. He extended his hand. My father talked about you for years. I smiled. I never even knew his name. The judge nodded. That's probably why your kindness mattered. I shook his hand. As I walked down the courthouse steps, I realized something. 26 years earlier, I had helped a stranger because he needed help. I never expected anything in return. But kindness has a strange way of traveling through time. Sometimes it disappears for years. Sometimes you forget it completely. And sometimes, when you least expect it, it comes back and stands beside you when you have no one else.